Good morning, Programming 11. We're going to be taking a look at some more object-oriented programming today. Here's an example of one of the things we're going to make today. This is what I call the ripples project. We got all these ripples. It kind of looks like maybe rain is falling down from the sky, and we're looking at a puddle or some kind of pond or something, and the water droplets are hitting the water and expanding. So this is something we're going to make today. It's going to be quite similar in many regards to our stars we made last time. Here's the stars that we had, and just a quick review about what's going on. We made a star array, and the star array contains star objects, and so we defined what it meant to be a star. That's what this class was about. A class is kind of like a cookie cutter that defines what our stars are going to be, and we just define these qualities. So, for example, we take a look at what sort of information will a star remember. We will also look at how the star is born. So, how we define the starting values for those variables. That's called the constructor. And then we create some behavior functions. So, what does a star look like? That's going to be its show function. And what does it do? What actions does it take? That's going to be its act function. So that's our kind of recipe for making these object-oriented type of things. Of course, there's a bit more to the arrays. In the arrays themselves, we have to actually go create our array and say how many stars are we going to have. We have to have a loop that goes and builds all the stars, calls all the constructors, and then in the draw function, we have to have a loop that tells all of the stars to do their action, whatever it happens to be. So that's sort of the pattern. And then we're going to try to, make a new project today and create something that looks like this. Now, the fading aspect, I wouldn't worry about that too much as you first starting. You might recall from the last lesson we had a little bit of knowledge about how do we change the fading, but don't worry about that. If these are just solid circles that reach a certain size and then poof, disappear, then you're doing well. So let's just quickly analyze, what sort of things we need to know about this. So for the star, we have these instance variables. Are these going to change at all for this? Yeah, I think it will. So for these ripples, we do need x and y, right? A ripple does have a position, but we won't need vx and vy. So you can scrap that. What is changing is not we're not going in a direction, it's just growing. So actually our size is going to be what's changing. So our size variable is important, but it's not the speed that's changing or the position that's changing. Pardon me. Whew. Ooh, yikes. It's the size of our ripples that are changing. There's no color right now, so you won't need any color. So that's going to be sort of your instance variables. What are going to be the starting qualities or starting values of these variables? Well, it's hard to see what happens, but basically any given moment of time, it could be the starting value for the sketch. So we're just randomizing our coordinates and we're randomizing our size as well, and that's it. Everything's random. Oh dear, ooh, I was up late last night, so it was. I'm a little tired. My apologies. All right, so then what about this? We got our show function. How's this going to differ? Well, it's not going to be a square. It's going to be a circle. Sorry, actually, it'll be an ellipse. And a hint here is you'll notice that the size is changing, but the height is half of the width. So I would use my size as my regular size, and then my height would be size divided by 2. And then the act function, what's happening? Well, it's not moving, it's growing. So instead of changing y, we're going to change size. And then it's not when it gets to the bottom that it recycles itself. It's when it gets to a certain size. So if it gets to a certain size, then it basically resets itself. It vanishes and goes somewhere else. So that's basically the story there. So if that made sense, then I would. I guess one other thing is, pretty much not a lot is in the main tab is going to change. I would say that very little will change, other than you're not having stars anymore, so you're going to have ripples. So a few things will change, like the name, the type. And yeah, and then like all these other little details will have to change, like the name again. Whew, pardon me. Ooh. But but you will basically have similar code. Just wherever you see stars is going to change to ripples, basically. What do you think? You think you can do it? If based on that you think you can do it, then I would recommend definitely start a new sketch. You can copy and paste from your stars sketch, but start a new sketch and get started on it. Now I'm going to stop the video here to give you a chance to give that a try. Don't worry if you don't get it. This is the first time, and rarely do students get it the first time out the gates. But in trying, you will probably encounter some difficulties, and then when you see the answer, that will make a lot more sense than if you hadn't tried in the first place. Also, what is it? It doesn't really matter. You're gonna watch the video in a minute anyway. So if it all goes wrong, that's okay, right? And you're not expected to get it right, but you will gain value from trying. So I'm going to stop the video, and I'll take a look in the next video on how you make your ripples. Okay, bye.